Let's start this vid by pissing off all the neighborhood Karens, shall we? So people ask me all the time where I get cheap motors from. So yeah, these 3 motors here, I got all these off Facebook Marketplace. You know, during the summer months, there's not as many deals on Outboard motors. I mean, you really got to put in your time, find deals. You know, I was able to message the sellers for these 3 motors all within the first 5 minutes of being posted. And so even 2 of these motors, you know, after messaging the seller, getting the address, they'd even deleted the post because they were getting so many messages. So I mean, there's a little bit of luck involved, but you also kind of just got to put in your time, be able to find deals and hop on them when they present themselves. Yeah, when you're buying cheap motors, they're always going to need some work. So without further ado, here's all the footage of me getting these up and running. All right, what's up guys? So for today, I'm going to try to make one running motor out of these 2 motors. These are like 1990s Hondas. Yeah, 15 and a 9.9. Pretty much use the same design. And so this one I literally just picked up today for 50 bucks. It's pretty rough. I didn't even look under the cowling yet, but the guy had said that his dog chewed up all the wiring, so that's why it was so cheap. And then this one I picked up with a handful of motors a while back. It had good compression, and it did fire up on starter fluid, but that's as far as I got on it. So let's take a look at these. So I did take a peek under just now, and yeah, it's pretty banged up. Missing all the fuel lines here. It's got the carburetor. It's missing like the dipstick there for the oil. All these wires are like shredded. All these wires here are shredded. Even he said the dog like chewed up the pull starter. Don't even know if it has compression. It's not locked up, it turns over. Yeah, it's missing some stuff here. Solenoid's all destroyed. I really got it because I need a lower unit for this one, which I'm assuming should be a good running motor. This one's complete. They both have electric start. So yeah, I need some power cables to run, but I did hook up some jumper cables and it did turn over, so the starter motor works and everything. This is a long shaft and this is a short shaft. So if you look on the side here, it's B-A-L-L, L meaning long, and then B-A-A-S meaning short. Yeah, we're gonna try to take off this lower unit and try to swap it over onto the short shaft and then see if it ends up fitting or not. So I kind of had a feeling this wouldn't work, but this long shaft, lower unit here, just the drive shaft and the linkage there are just way too long for the short shaft motor. But I think what I can do here, I already took out the 4 bolts holding kind of like this mid section piece right here and here. So I think I can swap this mid section since it's longer than the short shaft one and swap it over, and then the lower unit should work. Yep, there we go. Beautiful. Okay, there we go. Okay, I got the water line on, the longer one. I'm gonna put this longer midsection back on. Okay, so swapping the lower units didn't work. I mean, these motors, they look identical, but who knew they had different drive shafts? But anyways, I swapped over like all the electronics, bunch of bolts, fuel lines, all that kind of stuff from this 9.9 to this 15 now. So, I mean, pretty much everything, CDI, even the starter motor, solenoid, even the pull starter, because this one was all chewed up. So yeah, pull starter, had to resplice a bunch of broken wires and everything, but I think I got everything all back together. It took a couple hours. It's a lot of work. Yeah, this one was even missing the dipstick, so I got that. All these fuel lines, everything. Yeah, I even swapped over the starter motor. I mean, you can kind of see that bolt hits the flywheel too, so I had to get my flywheel puller, pull that off. Got a battery hooked up to it, so starter motor works, everything. It's got spark. I just did it for a second too because there's actually no oil in this, so let me put some oil in this. Full starting fluid. Yeah, it's just gonna need a carb clean. All right, I got the carb off. I already sprayed through it and cleaned it, just forgot to record. But right here is a air mixture screw. So I'm gonna turn that in all the way, see what it's at right now. We wanna make sure to clean that too. So there's one, So it was like 1 and about like a half or 3/4. So we'll pull it out, clean it, put it back at like 1 3/4. I'll spray it through that hole. It's all clear. Starts getting the right air. Inspect the needle and the spring, and then put it back to that starting position. Well, after that carb clean, I think that did it. Getting pretty good water. Forward. Neutral. Reverse. Alright, we're at the river. Just letting this Honda 15 warm up. See how she runs. Alright, I adjusted the air mixture screw a little bit. Seems like it's running a little better. I'm kind of feeling like it might be the fuel pump just like acting up. It's gonna like get to a certain point and then it feels like it's running out of fuel. Alright, so this Honda's struggling to stay running. Sounds like it's hurting for fuel. So it sounds like it either needs like a carb clean or maybe that fuel pump is old. I have another fuel pump, so I'm probably just gonna go clean the carb, maybe try a new fuel pump and see if that fixes our issue. But I think we can get it running enough to get back to the dock, but we'll see what happens. I'm upriver, so the current should take us down, worst case scenario. Yeah, that's a solid fish for the Sac River. And that's probably like, maybe close to a 3-pounder, honestly. Yeah, caught it on this white crankbait up along the rocks right here. Yeah, just cleaning this carb again. Spraying carb cleaner through it, just making sure the needle is seated properly. Gonna take off this jet here, just spray it through with carb cleaner, and we'll see if it runs better. And this is the second time I'm testing this Honda motor, so just making sure it's running good. Last time just kind of like idling rough, and yeah, we'd have to like give it like full throttle just to get it started, but it seems to be running a lot better. Let's just see if she fires right back up. Yeah, it seems to be running a lot better, but we're gonna do some fishing while we're testing this motor. Yeah, here's basically what the motor is doing. Like, it'll just die. But if you give it some throttle at the start, it'll stay running. And then you gotta like quickly shift it and then give it gas, and then sometimes it runs, sometimes it doesn't. So, let's see, we'll give it gas. Quickly shift it into forward, and then it'll run. And then if you go back to idle, it'll kind of just sputter and then die shortly after. This Honda's been running for about like 45 minutes straight now. So I put on a different fuel pump. I slightly adjusted the air mixture screw. So hasn't shut off yet. It's idling a lot better. Yeah, I ran it like full throttle for a while, like going top speed. I got like 22 miles an hour downriver. Before, sometimes it would like run out of fuel, it seemed like. So maybe it was the fuel pump, maybe just the air mixture screw needed to be slightly adjusted, getting it that much more air. But I think maybe a combination of both seemed to have fixed this motor. Yeah, running a lot better. Well, the motor was running great for the last 2 hours, but now paddle to shore. The launch ramp is like 200 yards away. I usually go upriver to let the current drift me down, but I was a little bit downriver, and luckily I was able to paddle to shore. I think I can walk it, but I don't have the right tools to fix this. The float is stuck, and it's just like flooding fuel out the carb. So I mean, I could maybe try to fix it, but I just don't think I got the right tools on me. So gotta walk it back to the ramp. A little obstacle right here. Let's see if I can thread the needle. Oh yeah, fits like a glove. And this is why I usually test outboards before selling them, because I'd rather it be me than someone who's not experienced. This is the third time I've already taken out this motor, and it's still not running right. So yeah, there's a lot of resellers out there that just say stuff works perfect, and people get in situations like this. So try to be honest and test stuff before selling it. All right, yeah, so I took this Honda out 3 times already. You know, the last time I took it out, the third time, it was running great for like a few hours, and then toward the end of the day, it started flooding the carburetor. And so here's the tank I have. I've had an issue with this tank before. This thing's super inflated and it's not vented right. So I should have known too with this tank. I've been meaning to get rid of it, or at least replace the cap. So I have it just hooked up right now, and I disconnected the fuel line here. I mean, you can just see by how full this tank is, it's just like flooding the carb too with gas. So it shouldn't be doing that, and so it's just leaking fuel on the ground, which isn't good. But you know, just because this is just too inflated and not vented right, it flooded the carburetor, made that float stick, and made it not run right. So I think, yeah, you know, after taking it out 3 times now, I feel pretty confident that it's running right. So I'll get a different tank, fire it up one more time. Once I relieve that pressure too in the tank, you should be able to hear it. So yeah, just this cap is just not doing what it's supposed to. You can see now, yeah, it's not leaking fuel anymore, so it's not flooding that carburetor. Yeah, so I've replaced the cap too. I like this manual style where you can just twist off this guy to relieve the pressure. Alright, this motor's done. On to the next one. Another day, another motor. Let's check this thing out. So yeah, we got here, picked this up yesterday. It's a Nissan 30 horsepower, 2-stroke, long shaft. I think on these decals, I think it's like late 1980s, could be early 1990s. It has a serial number, I just haven't even looked it up yet. It's kind of set up for a remote start, but I'm actually gonna convert it to tiller. It's got this piece here. You just have to add a tiller handle. I actually ordered one. A little rough looking, but I think she'll clean up good. So this motor was actually posted for free. It was only up for like 5 minutes. And I actually gave the guy 20 bucks. You know, when stuff's posted for free and I know it's actually worth something, you know, they're gonna get bombarded with a ton of messages in the first 5-10 minutes. So if you're not one of those guys in the first 5 minutes messaging the guy, you're probably not gonna get it. So I usually offer them like 20 bucks just to stand out from the rest. And typically that works for me. So in this case, it worked. You know, I think it's worth 20 bucks. In this day and age, you're not gonna get many free outboard motors. So technically not free, but we'll just call it a $20 tip to sweeten the deal on this motor. Yeah, so this Nissan motor here is made by Tohatsu, and I think a lot of people sleep on Tohatsu. You know, Tohatsu made these Nissan motors, I think until like the mid 2010s or so, around then. But I think just a lot of people aren't really aware like how good Tohatsu outboard motors are. You know, they still make a ton of motors for Mercury. You know, I've had really good luck on these older Nissans, you know, 80s, 90s, early 2000s. You know, I've worked on dozens of these, and they always seem to run good. I mean, this motor in particular, parts are a little bit hard to find on these. The like 90s and 2000s is a little bit easier, but I believe this is late 1980s. But everything looks complete. So yeah, so far all I've done is I've just pulled out the spark plugs and I just shot a little bit of PB Blaster in those cylinders, because by the looks of it, this thing's been sitting for a bit. So yeah, just like a general overview, it's got 2 spark plug holes. So 2 cylinders, just 1 good sized carburetor. I hate these clear fuel lines. This thing's gonna just break, I guarantee it. So I'm gonna have to replace that. I'm not really sure what's going on with this on off like switch here and the safety switch, but that's kind of interesting. Maybe it had like electric start at some point. Who knows? Yeah, there's no electric start on it. It's pull start. Yeah, I got the CDI here, or CDI slash coil pack, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, these are pretty simple motors. I like these motors. Yeah, I got the gauge on the top cylinder. Let's see what we're working with. Yeah, this little like rubber thing on the pull starter is broken. That's kind of annoying. Oh yeah, 120. Yeah, we can work with that. That's pretty good. So let's check the bottom. All right, excellent. Also 120, so we got even compression. You know, if I was gonna spend good money on an outboard, I'd probably bring my compression gauge and test it out, make sure it's like got even compression before buying it. But you know, when you're getting something for so cheap or free, you know, I kind of like the thrill of not knowing and then just figuring it out as I go. So yeah, let's see if this thing's got spark. Oh yeah. So she's got spark, but I did actually kind of have to wiggle this kill switch. I already undid the little nylon washer on the back. I mean, you can kind of see in there. It's a little bit damaged. It is getting spark, but I kind of had to wiggle that. This is a cheap part, kill switch, that I'm gonna replace. So yeah, it's got spark, it's got compression. So lastly, that leaves fuel. You know, based on how rough the motor kind of looks, I'm guessing this carb needs to come off and be clean, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. So I just noticed right here too, someone broke this off at one point and looks like they JB welded that nipple back on there. We'll see if that leaks or not, but that could be an issue, so that kind of sucks. Yeah, so kind of what I expected. A lot of crap in the bowl, probably clogged jets too. So yeah, we'll take this needle out, take the float out, just clean this thing through with carb cleaner and see if she runs. I got the fuel bowl off. There's a good amount of stuff in there, so I'm gonna clean this out. Don't want that going into a clean carburetor. So replace this crappy plastic fuel line. So now it's got a proper rubber fuel line. So yeah, I think we're ready to fire this thing up and see what happens. Not bad. I was trying to clear the water line, seemed like it was clogged. It's just being pretty decent water. I wonder what this on-off switch does. I wonder if that also is a kill switch. Oh, it is a double kill switch. That's so weird, because this works too. Huh. Alright, just to update on this Nissan. So I just installed this from AliExpress, this tiller handle. It's pretty easy to install. You just line up the grooves there, and there's just a bolt on each side, and then one that runs through. So that's on. So now we got throttle control. And I took the old carb off. You know, it already had that JB weld there and was leaking fuel, and even with more JB weld, it just wasn't doing the job, and I knew even if it did hold, it was gonna fail eventually. So yeah, I just had to pick up an aftermarket carb here. So we'll see if this one works straight out of the box and see if this thing wants to run. Tiller's working. Alright, so I adjusted that air mixture screw to 2.5 turns out. I think that's the sweet spot for this motor. Seems to be idling a little better. No bogging down on acceleration. Yeah, so I got this Nissan painted right here now. You know, I'm actually pretty happy with how it turned out. You know, I don't think they even sell this Nissan blue paint anymore, so I just went in the store, did a couple different samples. So yeah, this is the Rust-Oleum paint primer, this blue satin color. You know, it matched pretty perfectly, so I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. So yeah, I did a few coats of those, a clear coat or two. Yeah, I got the prop painted as well. So yeah, I think that color matched pretty well on this. what's up guys? Just picked up this motor. Let's check this thing out. So yeah, we got here is the Nissan 4-stroke. It's a 15 horsepower. It's a short shaft tiller model. It's even got electric start too. So yeah, I just picked this up from an older gentleman. Super chill dude. He's the original owner of it. He's owned it for, the last like 20 plus years. And he said over that time, he's probably only used it like a handful of times. He said he'd be very surprised if there's more than like 40 or 50 hours on this thing. He did say it's been sitting for like 5 years, so it's gonna need a little bit of work to get going. I haven't even started touching it or working on it yet. I do really like these Nissan 15 horsepowers. So the 9.9s and even the 18 horsepowers, they're made by Tatsu, which also makes it for Mercury. I've fixed up like 5 or 6, maybe 7 of these over the years. They're a little bit on the heavy side, these like older 4-strokes, but I mean, these are really solid motors. I really like these motors. Pretty simple to work on, really reliable. I'd imagine just probably needs a carb clean, oil change, impeller, spark plugs, just kind of a full service, but yeah, not too hard of a job. Yeah, I mean, just looking over this thing, I mean, these coils and everything look pretty damn new. Starter looks pretty decent. So, I believe the story that this thing probably has very little hours. Even the carburetor looks pretty clean. I may even be able to get away with just like pumping some fresh fuel and pumping out any crap that's in the carb. May not even need a clean. Maybe he ran it dry, who knows. Actually, it's nice too. Sometimes these have the cap over the air mixture screw. This one either just doesn't or it was removed. So that's cool. All right, so I got the spark plugs removed. And before I fire it up and try to do a compression test and all that stuff, I'm gonna lubricate the cylinders just with some PB Blaster. I mean, you can use like WD-40 or whatever lubricant you wanna do. This motor's been sitting for like over 5 years, so I'm just gonna shoot some in the top and bottom spark plug hole here just to make sure those cylinders aren't dry. All right, I got my compression gauge on the top cylinder. Let's see what she's reading. About 75 PSI, so that's not good at all. Well, shit. Hopefully those rings aren't stuck, but I guess let's see what the bottom is. Confirm. Huh. It's also like 75. Maybe this gauge is f***ed up. So let me try a different gauge, see what we got. All right, trying this different gauge, so let's try this out. This one's pretty faded. Okay, that's definitely better. That's reading like 105, almost like 110-ish. So let's see if it's even on the bottom. Okay, also about like 100, 105. So that's better, we can work with that. Yeah, a little sparky test. Yeah. Oh, great spark. Let's check this oil here. Oh yeah, not milky. That looks actually really clean. It doesn't even look very brown at all. All right, so I pulled out that drain screw, just put a rag there. I'm just gonna pump fuel from the primer bulb just to get any old fuel or dirt in there to drain out. All right, I just noticed that this water pisser telltale is like all clogged up, so let me clear that out. I don't know if y'all can see in there, but it's all clogged up, so I gotta pull this line off, clear it out. Yeah, I keep this coat hanger for literally this like exact purpose, like just for clearing out these water lines. There she goes. Yeah, she's probably gonna need a new color. Obviously, it's been sitting for 5 years. Forward, neutral, reverse. Yeah, you can kind of hear the idle just slightly struggling. This carb off that Nissan, and you can see it's pretty dirty. I'm actually kind of surprised it was running in this condition. So yeah, I'm sure these jets in here too probably have a little bit of stuff in it. So yeah, we'll spray her out with some carb cleaner and hopefully should be idling a little better. A little bit of stuff in this jet, but now it's cleared. Usually on most carbs you can pop out this main nozzle here and just make sure that that's all clear, all those little passages in there as well. Under here, got that jet out. I like pulling these out. I mean, sometimes there's some stuff on it that, you know, carb cleaner won't just do if you keep it in its position, so I like pulling it out. Yeah, I pulled out this air mixture needle. It was actually 5 turns out, which is quite a lot. It's a cover plate for here. Let's just make sure all these are cleared. This Nissan would pee water on the earmuffs, but wouldn't pee in a bucket of water. So I got a new impeller. I'm going to change the impeller on it. It's pretty easy to remove the lower unit on this. There's just 4 nuts holding it down. And if you can look in here, there's a shift linkage. You just want to remove that top pin. And I just got a little hammer punch here with the hammer that I'm going to remove that. So we'll take this lower unit off. That's not terrible. Just the fin, yeah, actually, you know what? These fins are just like super brittle. All right, new impeller, slide this on. Luckily this one doesn't matter which way. Sometimes there's one side that has a groove and the other that doesn't, but both of these have a groove. Just want to slide that on over the drift key. All right, so with that lower unit with the new impeller installed, it's finally running right too. And I even switched out this fuel connector. This is the new one here. I prefer it to have the metal one. I mean, here's the original one. I mean, this piece right here is plastic, and I've always had issues with these plastic ones just kind of leaking. So that new fuel connector too. And also the carb, I can't remember if I showed it or not, but when I first got it, the original position was set at like 5 turns out, which seemed like way too much. So yeah, it still wasn't idling great even after a carb clean. So I set it to about 1.5 to 1.75 turns out. So that seems to be the sweet spot for it. So let me fire it up for you. Yeah, it's idling so much smoother now with the air mixture screw adjusted. It's peeing great water with that new impeller too. Before in this bucket it wouldn't pee any water, it would only pee on the earmuffs. Alright guys, we're at the river testing this Nissan 15 4-stroke. I mean, the water's like super brown. I've never seen it this brown on the Sacramento River here. We're gonna test this motor, see how she runs. Well, shit. That is not good. All right, so I think I finally got this Nissan dialed in a little bit better. 2 things having to deal with the carburetor here. One being, I think I swapped these 2 yellow wires. They look exactly the same that go to this electric choke right here. So I swapped those and I should have marked them. I put a piece of tape, but it fell off on the other end. And I think I switched them, so I switched them back. And the air mixture screw right in here, I tweaked it a little bit more. I made it run a little bit more to the left. So it's about like 2.5 turns out. I'd set it to around like 1.5. Initially it was at 5. So I think that's kind of the sweet spot, like 2.5 right here. So it seems to be running a lot better. On the water a few hours. I think it's finally dialed in now. Yeah, so for getting these older motors up and running, you know, it's one thing just getting them running and running it in a bucket of water on the driveway. You know, it's another thing actually going out on the river and testing them to see how they run. I mean, as you saw, you never know how they're actually going to run until they're under load. You know, if they're going to bog down, if that carb needs tuning, stuff like that. So yeah, for all these motors I have, I usually keep them for a little bit, just do some fishing trips out of it to test them, and yeah, usually sell them afterward. But at least for most of these motors I sell, I try to test. So then that way I know I'm not selling someone a crappy motor that's gonna break down on them. That's all I got for this video. I really appreciate you guys, all the positive feedback in the comments section that doesn't go unnoticed. So I really appreciate you guys watching this video and helping my channel grow. And as always, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. See you on the next video, guys. Later.